G'day, Steve Morgan, Fishing Monthly Magazines and ABT. At the Sydney Boat Show today, just about to head away from the show back to Brisbane, but I thought this would be a great place to bring you some of the things from the show on Tackle Fridays. It is Friday, so this is the day we do this. Some of the cool things that I saw at the show that might impact the way that we fish and tournament fish down the track started yesterday at the Navico press launch in the morning. A couple of things that were there were the new Recon Lowrance Simrad electric motors. These are a servo-driven, the popular style of electric motor here in Australia. They're saltwater ready, 24, 36 volt trolling motors, brushless electrics, and have a really cool foot pedal or handheld joystick system to drive around. Like, I think a lot of us that fish with their hands all day probably won't use the joystick as much as the foot pedal, but the foot pedal has programmable buttons on it, just like the Ghost. And one of the cool things with the hand control is you can use it to jog yourself around while you're on spot lock. So if you're really wanting to line up a spot, you can drive there on the joystick, and as soon as you let go, that spot gets spot locked there. So that was pretty cool from Lowrance. The other thing though was the Eagle Eye, which is 1/3 of the price of any of the live sonar systems on the market. The system consists of a 9-inch head unit, and it's not a fully functioning sounder, it's just a head unit that's designed to work with this transducer. The transducer is non-adjustable, it sits in one plane, it gives you down view and forward view, albeit at a smaller angle than a standard live scope system, and it doesn't give you that perspective mode or that the scout mode that Lowrance call it. So that is actually available before Christmas. The Eagle Eye, you get the head unit, the transducer, the power cord, that's all, and you can put it on a pole, put it on your trolling motor, and away you'll go. You're into live sonar for around $1,500. So I think that's going to be a bit of a game changer in that space. A lot of the other companies are going to offer something that's cheaper and easier to get into live sonar with. We don't know. Other things we saw were from Garmin yesterday. They've released the new 48-inch Kraken, and they had that on display at the show. The Kraken is their servo-driven electric motor. Always had the long shaft lengths and then the really long shaft lengths for those offshore boats, but for smaller tinnies and tournament style boats, that 48-inch shaft length is going to be really cool. One thing that the Kraken has that the Recon motors don't have is an internal cabling system for that live sonar. So if you want to put live scope on your Kraken, all the cables actually run up the middle of the shaft. The Recon is going to have some sort of mounting system where those cables run on the outside, and they always tend to look a little bit messy on the outside there. I did have a chat to the designer from Recon. He is aware of that, but they've opted for the outside rigging at the moment. Garmin also released some really big offshore live scope transducers. Imagine seeing 135 degree wide for hundreds of meters down and it compiling into a 3D live image. Well, Garmin can do that now if you put a computer about this big or a transducer about this big on your boat. Didn't get to spend a lot of time with the guys at Hot Tackle. The guys at Hot Tackle are ABT retail sponsors now. They're the only tackle which is in the Sydney Boat Show here, but I did see a lot of people walking around with fishing rods yesterday, so they must have had some pretty good specials sitting in there. So Brock and the guys who are doing it there, good luck down here. It's the only tackle at the show. A pity I didn't get to film a bag with it. There were plenty of good specials, bins and etc. looking in there. I love taking lures home that people think need to be on special, because I need to give them a home and I need to catch fish on them. Otherwise, that's it for Tackle Fridays. It was from Sydney this week. We'll be back in Brisbane next week for next week's Tackle Fridays.